You are looking at Canadian Chris Spolzel. He is in the gate and ready to make his second giant slalom run as the Bud Light American Snowboard Tour presents the Chevy S10 pickup Kirkwood Open. Hello again, everyone. Todd Harris along with Lee Crane. Now, Chris Spolzel has a lot of time to make up. His first run time is 68.35. That ranks him as 7th, and he is currently sitting behind Mitch Baker, who was our leader.
Chris is going to need a 64.55 if he wants to take the lead. He's got to hold his line tight through the top section of the course. Remember, the top section, very steep, rolls into a glade, and then a little bit of a drop to the finish. If he can hold his speed through the top section, carry it into the flat, he'll be setting up nice for the bottom section of the course. Chris holding a nice tight line through the middle, staying low. Notice how he keeps his knees down, his hands out in front, trying to keep making those turns without sliding out, keeping on his edge.
Canadian Chris Spolzel looking very good as he enters the last section of the course, Lee, not scrubbing much snow at all.
I think this time is going to make it. Now remember, he only needs a 64.55 if he wants to move into the leadership position.
Spolzel picks up a 63.39, which gives him a combined time of 1:31.74. He is our new leader at Kirkwood. Welcome to beautiful Kirkwood, California for stop number 2 of the 1997 Bud Light American Snowboard Tour presented by Chevy S10 Pickups. Hello once again, everyone. Todd Harris, along with the editor of Snowboarding Online, Lee Crane. Lee, today the discipline is the GS.
Giant slalom, 2 runs, combined time for the winner. Fastest guy or girl to the bottom is the winner.
All right, our overall leader in the men's competition after one run, Nelson Jensen from Canada, and we've got a great field of international competitors coming all the way from Australia, Canada, America, and Europe. But we've got a very challenging course today here at Kirkwood.
3 sections to the course. Very steep top section, a flat glade through the trees, and then back into the steeps to the finish.
All right, let's go back to the top of the course here at Kirkwood, our second run in the GS.
In the starting gate right now, it is Australian Brett Leask visualizing his run before he jumps out of the gate.
As Brett Leask makes his mental preparations, we go and take a look at our Paul Mitchell $27,000 Riders' Cup standings. Right now in the Alpine discipline, it is Travis McLean who is out in front with 1,600 points. He is followed by Jeff Archibald, Matt Morency, Peter Thorndike, and Matt Mitchell. But McLean will most likely lose the black jersey because his first run time of 77.77 wasn't good enough to qualify for the top 25, and thus he does not get a second run. But Brett Leask does. He is in the gate. He got a 67.63 in his first run, and before he slid into the gate, we talked to him about his second run.
11.
The second course is pretty nice. It looks a little faster in the middle section, on the flatter section, which is kind of good for me because I'm a little heavier, so that's a real good thing. Yeah, but it looks like it'll run really sweet. I can't wait for it.
We'll see if Brett gets a sweet start out of the gate, dropping in onto the Kirkwood Giant Slalom course. Remember, this is the tight section. A lot of riders having problems at the top. Brett having no problems on the first few gates. Looks like he's warming up to the speed, carry it on through the flats and into the glade.
As we take a look at the course, the sun is nowhere to be seen on the snow, Lee, thus the course is totally icing up. Is this going to be a disadvantage for the guys who make their second run later in the day?
Well, the thing is, the temperature, it's icy at the top, and as you get closer to the bottom, it gets looser and looser. So what the guys have is very edgy at the top, and then as you get down to the bottom, it gets a little bit sloppier. However, it's not as bad as we've seen it here at Kirkwood before. We've had it here where it was icy and all the way to slush at the bottom, and that's not the case today.
Well, Brett Leask having no problems with the changing snow conditions as he makes his way across the last knoll, and he will come down. Remember, he needs a 64.10 to take the lead from Spolzel.
And across the finish line.
And Brett Leask will pick up a 63.84, giving him a combined of 131.47, and he is our new leader.
Brett has nothing to complain about with that run. Very solid, no major mistakes. He carried his speed all the way through to the finish.
Brett Leask moves atop the leaders poll. He's followed by Spolzel and Baker. We still have more riders to come, including Peter Thorndike, who's at the top of the course. He is fourth in the Paul Mitchell Riders' Cup standing. Will have his run after this. The Bud Light American Snowboard Tour is brought to you by Bud Light. Make it a Bud Light. And by Chevy S10, like a rock. And we welcome you back to the second stop of the Bud Light American Snowboard Tour from Kirkwood, California. Todd Harris along with Lee Crane. We are on the GS competition, and next up it will be Peter Thorndike of Meredith, New Hampshire. He is getting set, and Lee, he definitely has his work cut out for him on this second run.
Peter's used to riding icy courses, but he had some problems with the first run here at Kirkwood.
After that first run, I'm a little bit upset, so I'm going to let it hang out and see if I can pull one off.
Peter Thorndike's first run time, a 69.60, which put him in the 11th spot, Lee. He needs a 61.86 to better Leask, and he's going to have to uncork something sweet.
That's one thing Peter's good at, is pulling it out in times of crisis. He trains with the Stratton Mountain School, so they're used to riding firm conditions like we have here at Kirkwood. So, you know, this is very possible for Peter.
Peter Thorndike looking very good through the glade, kept a lot of his speed from the upper section. Now he makes his way through the second third of the course, and Lee, he is staying very low and very tight to those gates.
This is perfect giant slalom form. Staying low, rounding them out, no sliding, carrying the speed on the gates. He comes in early, hooks out late.
Peter needs a 61.86 to better Leask, and here he comes across the last knoll. Let's see if he can do it.
Peter's had no major mistakes so far, so it's going to be very close.
This is it. Peter Thorndike comes across the finish line, and he gets a 61.59 combined 131.19, and he is our new leader.
Peter Thorndike uncorks a fast one, moving all the way from 11th place to first place with one run. We'll see how he did it. Staying low, absorbing those bumps, and making sure that the energy is carried forward rather than getting chattered away.
As our next competitor is getting ready in the gate, let's go back and have a look at the women's GS highlights. The ladies also enjoyed their opportunity to test themselves on Kirkwood's Monty Wolf run. Lisa Kosglow earned the right to wear the Paul Mitchell leaders jersey at Hunter Mountain after posting wins in both GS and dual slalom, and hopes to keep it all season long.
Really psyched about the black jersey thing. Hopefully I can hang on to it for the rest of the tour.
She was challenged by Ashley Rice of Santa Barbara, who fought back from a subpar first run.
Actually, my first run wasn't so good. I was in 7th my first run. And my second run, I just decided to charge it, and I decided that I had nothing to lose, so I just went full force and ended up in 3rd.
Veteran racer and respected all-around rider Julie Zell of Jackson Hole, Wyoming also had to play catch-up.
Well, the first run I nailed the top, and then I kind of floundered around in what was supposed to be the easy flat section. So the second run, I kind of took it easy going into the steeps, so I was a little more aggressive coming into the flats, start to open it up as I came into it.
She finished with a combined time of 149.57, good enough for second place, but almost 6 seconds back. Lisa put together the two fastest times of the day, a 72.65 first run and a 71.01 second run to clinch the win.
In the past, I haven't been as good on the flats as some of the bigger girls. So my strategy is to really, try to make up some speed on the top section, and then when it comes onto the flats, just try to keep it as clean and hold my tuck as much as I can, and try to hold my speed, because it's real hard for me to generate speed on the flats like some of the bigger girls can.
Lisa has now posted 3 consecutive wins, and the coveted black Paul Mitchell jersey may become a permanent part of her wardrobe. Congratulations to Lisa. We are back on the men's GS competition. This is Greg Salmon. His first run time is 67.33, needs a 63.85 to take the lead.
Now, we've seen times getting faster today, so it's not out of the question that he gets a 63. Peter Thorndike, of course, just turned in a 61.59. But Peter didn't sit on that top gate. A lot of the riders having problems up here. Hopefully he can get it squared away through the glade.
Very difficult, Lee, as you pointed out. It is so very steep up top, but they've got to try to keep that speed to make it through this flat section.
Not only do they have to keep the speed through the flat section, but that top section is the only place you can really generate a lot of speed. And so if you can make it through there, carry it out, you've got it all the way through to the finish.
This is Greg Salmon looking very good after that first sketch, but right now he is back online, taking the gates a little wider than Peter Thorndike did. How much is that going to hurt him?
Well, you know, anytime you lose speed, you're getting hurt in giant slalom. Greg is also standing up a little bit higher than we saw Peter Thorndike standing between the gates, and that means that there's more air hitting him in the chest, and he's not as aerodynamic.
Greg Salmon making his way down the Monty Wolf run here at Kirkwood, California, getting into the sun, and this is where the snow has got very slushy. He comes across the finish line and posts a 65.24, combined 132.57, and that'll drop him into 4th place.
The wide gates and the standing up may have cost Greg today.
We'll have more from Kirkwood, California after this. Welcome back to beautiful Kirkwood, California. Stop number 2 of the Bud Light American Snowboard Tour. Todd Harris along with Lee Crane. Our next competitor in the GS competition comes to us from Troy, New York. Nate Sims in the gate. First run time, a 67 even.
Todd, he's going to need a 64.18 if he expects to move into the top position today. It's very possible. He's a solid rider, but we haven't seen him into the top spot a lot this year.
Here is Nate Sims training with the Cross M team, coming down, and it looks very icy, Lee, having all kinds of trouble on that first part.
Nate actually had to hop on that last gate on his heel side edge to get over some of the chop, but he looks like he's holding through, and he's going to make it into the glade. Still Nate going a little bit wide. Remember, he needs a 64.18, so he's going to have to carry a very tight line, stay low, and not have any mistakes through the middle section.
Looks like Nate has settled into a pretty good routine here, Lee. A lot more quiet on the board, the knees, everything kind of staying in a nicer line.
On a course like this, mistakes are amplified. There's nowhere to get speed. Once you lose it through the middle section of the Kirkwood Giant Slalom course, there's nowhere to get it back.
This is Nate Sims coming across the final knoll here at Kirkwood. We'll see if he can get that time made up that he lost at the top. He comes across the finish line and posts a 65.07, a combined of 132.07. That'll bump Salmon to 5th, and Sims will take over 4th position.
Nate had a little trouble at the top, and that's probably where he lost that second that he needed in order to take the top spot.
So Nate Sims will have to settle for 4th as we go to the men's GS standings. It looks like this. Peter Thorndike still atop the leaderboard, followed by Brett Leask and Chris Spotzel. While we have a break, we want to take you back to look at the half-pipe competition.
There were surprises for everybody in the Kirkwood half-pipe competition. Frank Wells, Todd Richards, and Jeff Brushie, the Paul Mitchell Riders' Cup Freestyle points leader, all qualified outside of the top 8. In fact, Todd Richards almost didn't qualify at all after being DQ'd for what the judges called an inverted air. Todd's friends produced enough pocket money, $70, for him to file an official protest.
My friends did.
And after the judges reviewed this video footage of his run, he was allowed to continue in the competition.
Ron Chiotti was happily surprised to be the #1 qualifier coming into the one-run winner-take-all final, and even though he would get bumped out of the lead, he would still finish a respectable 4th.
At stop number 1 in Hunter Mountain, New York, Frank Wells finished in 2nd to Jeff Brushie in a very close final. At this event, Jeff Brushie would finish in 3rd with a run score of 37.3.
Frank Wells would again find himself in a very close finish with Todd Richards, both of them pushing the moral altimeter. Tied at 38.5 apiece, first place would be determined by the score of the technical judge. Once again, Frank Wells would miss out by the closest of margins, while a frontside 900 would help to put Todd Richards on top of the podium.
Yeah, well, we had a one-run final. We haven't had that since Snow Summit probably 4 years ago, and that was the first contest I ever won. And it's kind of a weird thing because it's full risk it all, gain it all format. And I mean, it's conducive to that kind of hucking. And I haven't done it frontside 900 in probably 2 years. Lucky I still remembered how to do them. So yeah, it was really fun, and I tied with Frank, and that's awesome because we got first and second last weekend too at Snowmass, and Frank's pretty much my next door neighbor. He's always in my hot tub. So it's pretty killer.
In the women's halfpipe competition, Athena would emerge as the victor by a scant 0.2 of a point. She was followed very closely by Jamie McLeod, a top finisher from the Hunter Mountain event, and third place was won by a very hot Chris Hasserman.
The snowboard cross competition was drastically different from the halfpipe as the snow dumped on Kirkwood.
The women's final featured Marguerite Cosatini of Australia and 4 Americans, Kirsten Bedard, Julie Zell, and Eva Wojcik. Halfway down, Marguerite was in second, but even with mechanical difficulties, was able to take the win.
For the final, I think maybe the first berm, I was coming in second after Julie Zell. I think maybe my board was a little bit faster, so I couldn't let her win. Anyway, and then I broke my bar in halfway down, so I was pretty stoked actually to come in first.
Here are the final results for the women's snowboard cross competition. The men's final featured Chris Ingelsman, Ryan Williams, Paul Henderson, and Dan Adams in his first snowboard cross event ever.
Right after the first gap jump, there's just this big bump that everybody keeps trying to go into super fast, and I was second or third. I went by so fast I don't even remember, but I was right behind the leaders and just waiting for it. I could tell they were going in too fast, and sure enough, they packed out, and I just kind of whittled my way through the pack, and I thought for sure I was going slow enough somebody was going to fly right past me, but just kept charging, and it ended up winning, so it's pretty neat. It's my first border cross ever, and it's quite a thrill.
So Dan Adams wins what might more appropriately be called the powder cross competition. Williams, Henderson, and Engelsman take second, third, and fourth, respectively.
In our Paul Mitchell Riders' Cup standings, Jeff Brushie leads the men's freestyle, and Julie McLeod tops the women's. Hotel accommodations provided by the Kirkwood Resort. Welcome back to stop number 2 of the Bud Light American Snowboard Tour, the Chevy S10 Pickup Kirkwood Open. Kirkwood Resort is located just 30 minutes away from South Lake Tahoe, and its 2,300 rideable acres offer every kind of terrain imaginable. But don't just take our word for it. John Taylor, Kirkwood's snowboard instructor, knows the mountain as well as anyone.
For the snowboarder, Kirkwood offers a vast variety of terrain. We have natural half pipes and gullies with great jumps. We also have a snowboard park. We have open bowls and glades, chutes, rocks, gullies, cornices, you name it, we've got it.
Over 65 trails and 2,000 feet of vertical rise are serviced by 11 lifts. But more than that, Kirkwood is also home to many shops, restaurants, bars, and offers everything else you'd expect from a great resort. Kirkwood, host of stop number 2 of the Bud Light American Snowboard Tour. And we are back to the men's GS competition. Our final 2 competitors in the gate now, Gabriel Chartrand of Canada.
Gabriel's first run time, a 66.87. That means all he needs is a 64.31 if he wants to take the top spot, and we've seen several times faster than that this morning.
Gabriel is on the course, currently sitting in second after his first run, and the course lead seems to be getting more and more icy as that sun goes down.
You know, the chop is getting deeper as well. A lot of guys coming through here hopping. Other guys have to come over that chop and make it through smoothly, carrying their speed.
Gabriel makes it through the top section with few sketches, and here he comes through the middle part.
Gabriel holding his line nice, staying low around the gates. He is standing up a little too high coming down through the bottom section.
And Lee, talk about the light, the visibility. It's got to be flat light coming through that glade.
It is flat right now, but there are no spots of sunlight, so it's not as hard for the riders. It gets difficult when they're coming in and out of the light. Right here, it's consistent from the top to the bottom, so it really shouldn't be that big of a problem.
Gabriel Chartrand of Canada needs a 64.31 to take over the lead, and here he comes to the bottom section.
Todd, I think it's going to be really close.
Here he goes, crosses the finish line, gets a 64.93, not enough, goes combined 131.80, and that was only good enough for fourth place.
He comes up 62 hundredths of a second short away from that first place spot. It could have been the problems at the top and also standing up through the middle.
That will take us to our final competitor, Nelson Jensen from Canada. First run time 66.39, which gave him the fastest run time, and Lee asked him if that made him nervous.
No, I like going into the second run in the lead. You know, it's definitely a good thing. Just feel confident now and had a good run, so I'm just going to do it again in the second run.
So with his #1 ranking going into the second run, Nelson Jensen needs a 64.79 to hold on to that and the title.
Nelson gets a nice start out of the gate in through the critical section of the course, not having any problems. If he can make it through here and then carry the speed through the middle with no mistakes in the lower section of the course, I think he might be able to make it.
Nelson Jensen, one of those full-time committed racers. You'll see him up at Mount Hood in the summer training with several coaches up there. And this guy, Lee, he has got some definite skills. Makes his way in the World Cup in Europe when he's not over here in America.
You see Nelson staying low through the middle, puts his hands out in front of his head for the tuck, trying to carry as much speed as he can through the flats.
He needs a 64.79 to take the lead from Peter Thorndike. And right now, Lee, he is carrying so much speed. If he can hold on, I think he's going to do it.
Nelson is flying through the middle of the course. He looks much faster. I'd say he could be up to a second faster than the last competitor.
Here he comes over the last section of the course. Nelson Jensen from Canada looking extremely fast, extremely smooth. A slight bobble right there, but right at the finish line, it's not going to affect him. He picks up a 62.28, which gives him a combined time of 128.67. He is our unofficial winner. Nelson Jensen saves his best for last and uncorks a fast one. We'll be back to talk to our winner right after this. The Bud Light American Snowboard Tour has been brought to you by Bud Light. Make it a Bud Light. And by Paul Mitchell Professional Salon Hair Care Products. We welcome you back to Kirkwood, California, stop number 2 of the Bud Light American Snowboard Tour. Todd Harris along with Lee Crane, and we are down to our final results. And the word is from the judges, the man of the hour in the GS competition today, Lee Crane, it was Nelson Jensen.
Nelson walked away with the giant slalom competition here at Kirkwood by nearly 3 seconds. Normally in GS we see separations between first and second place in the hundredths of seconds. Here it was a total of 3 seconds.
Our final results look like this. It's Jensen, Thorndike, Lease, Spolzel, and Chartrand. Before we leave, we want to take a look at our Paul Mitchell $27,000 Riders' Cup standing in the Alpine Division. Our leader there is Peter Thorndike, followed by McLean and Jeff Archibald in third. Let's go down to Lee Crane, who's standing by with our winner. Lee.
Todd, the way to win this race was to put 2 fast runs together, and the guy who did that was Nelson Jensen, the fastest time in the first run and the fastest time in the second run. How'd you pull this all together?
Just consistency. I just rode strong from off the top where it was hard and just took that right into the flats and carried it through right to the finish, and it worked good.
You have any idea what you're going to do with the money that you win tonight?
I'm taking the whole team out. We're going off.
Nelson Jensen pretty happy about the win, taking the whole team out tonight. Todd, maybe he can hook us up. I don't know.
Thank you, Lee, and we'll thank Nelson tonight when he picks up the check. We want to congratulate all of our winners here at Kirkwood in the GS competition. For the women, Lisa Kosglow. For the men, Nelson Jensen. Our next stop, Mammoth, California. Check your local listings. So for Lee Crane, I'm Todd Harris. We'll see you next time up on the hill.